Bristol. Once you pass the crash, you still have a pretty heavy drive towards Brookhurst and Fountain Valley. It's also slow moving on the 91 eastbound out of Anaheim from the 57 freeway all the way to Green River. Pass right now out of Culver City, 405 northbound, slowing down from the 90. The race all the way to the 5 merge into Selmar. Choking is the 4th leading cause of accidental death. LifeVest is a life-saving airway clearance device which has saved over 3,000 lives. Go to lifeback.com and enter promo code LIFE to save 20% to secure your home kit today.
I have a dream today.
From slavery and segregation to the Great Migration.
All right now.
Day rising. The Black experience in America is a story of resilience, achievement, and unstoppable spirit. This February, we're curating amazing conversations celebrating the heroes, the pioneers, and the everyday people who made history. Black History Month on KBLA Talk 1580. Together, we carry the torch forward.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me
What up,
ask
everybody?
Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes 2 to tango, and I need to hit his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, and I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
Search for the gatekeeper. Pathfind the path we got. He's a light touch shifter, and he'll protect your home. With the eyes in the front and the back of the head. Chase away evil forces.
Attila's topic.
So long as you bring the offense. He's got the action I can't deny. I am a witness, I'll testify. This song, my only my sacrifice to the one who can do and undo.
What is interesting, Steve, there is an article on the BBC that talks about the idea that people aren't actually as picky in reality as they think they are when describing who they would date. Research shows hidden biases will actually give people a chance, even if they don't quite meet our criteria.
Right. Yes.
And I think that's interesting because dating apps, no doubt, make us much more picky than we are in reality. And I think anyone can kind of run this experiment. If you imagine going on a dating app and how you swipe through people so liberally in such a kind of laissez-faire fashion, and then consider how you are if you're at a party and someone introduces you to someone.
Yeah.
You're far more likely to give that person that you've been introduced to in real life a moment, a chance, than you are on a dating app where that person may not even make it into your I'm going to send them a quick hi folder.
Yeah, and it might even be for weird reasons, like you'll see one movie they said was their favourite movie, and you're like, Oh God, really? That one? Like, oh, roll your eyes. Oh, that's so like cliche. But if you met someone at a party who was great, you wouldn't reject them on the basis that their favorite movie.
Is there a perfect type? I'm going to tell you what I've told my sons and my daughter. I always say, don't date the ideal, right? Date the real. I said, don't date this dream, this concept. I always tell them, date what you've earned, right? Date what you've earned, right? Meaning you can't go after somebody, that you perceive to be better than you, or you perceive to have more than you, or you perceive to, or in your mind you think, oh, at some point I'll be there. A lot of people are afraid to date people that they think are actually better than them, right? However, that doesn't mean they don't aspire to have those people, right? Sometimes your type is written by your style. What do I mean? By your attachment style. And if it's an insecure attachment style, then that means insecurity is choosing which type you find attractive. Very interesting topic tonight. It be your own type. A deeper look at the Achilles heel of typism. When your romantic preference or preferences is your biggest op/opposition. Goodness gracious, true or false? You do better when you become better. Gaining knowledge is half of your relationship battle. Gaining what kind of knowledge? Self-knowledge. My God, here we go. 1-800-920-1580. The radical reevaluation of romantic typism. Is our fixation on a specific type merely a socially constructed illusion, or does it reflect deep-seated attachment patterns rooted in early childhood experiences? 1-800-920-1580. If you don't like your dark skin and you find light-skinned women more attractive than, 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone line. Don't be afraid to talk, okay? Don't be afraid to talk. Call in. Here's the empirical insight. Research in attachment theory and neuroplasticity reveals that early relational experiences or early childhood experiences shape our preferences. Yet these preferences are malleable, a fact that underscores the potential for transformative change through conscious self-awareness. Self-awareness is the Achilles heel, right, to a lot of psychological wounds, to a lot of traumatic wounds. Oftentimes, the wounds have been pushed so far down, suppressed, repressed, that they're operating on autopilot in the subconscious, right? And what happens is when we get triggered, we react, as opposed to being self-aware enough to belay a knee-jerk reaction and cultivate a frontal lobe directed response. Does that make sense? Are you guys listening? 1-800-920-1580. The neuropsychology of love and attraction. Question: can the brain's rewired circuitry be reprogrammed? Can the brain's reward circuitry be reprogrammed to dissolved, fixed romantic archetypes and foster deeper, more adaptive connection? Here's the empirical insight. Neuroimaging studies demonstrate that practices like mindfulness, back to spirituality, and cognitive behavioral interventions can rewire the dopamine pathways, allowing individuals to break free from the habitual allure of a narrowly defined type. What's your type? And why do you have that type? Is your type the opposite of who your mother or father was? Or are they the spitting image? 1-800-920-1580. Social media and the algorithm of attraction. Question: to what extent do digital platforms manufacture our ideals of beauty and desirability, reinforcing a superficial checklist based on? I know y'all don't want to hear me talk to y'all like that. Listen, I'm asking you the question. It be the type you're attracted to that winds up hurting you. Why? Who are you to attract pain? What is it about you and and what you're attracted to that attracts a problem? That attracts, and listen, when I say a problem, I don't mean problem in the context of this new generation. Lord have mercy, now resilience is the devil. There's no need to be resilient. Everything ain't got to be hard. Spirituality is not easy. And I don't care how soft this generation is. I don't care how they change the rules to the NFL. I don't care how they change the rules to the NBA and make it all easy. And so spirituality is something you cannot soften. I'm sorry. And relationships are inherently spiritual because that's where you come face to face with your shadow. This is what individuation is about. Congruence, internal congruence. So many people are afraid of that. They're going to pick the easiest mark that can come into their life. That's their type, easy. You understand? We traveling, we partying, we drinking. We're constantly distracted from the inner work. It be the type you like. 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines right now. Data from media psychology research indicates that social media algorithms promote homogenized images, shaping our perception of attractiveness and often limiting our capacity for authentic, nuanced connections. Relationships ain't nuanced. Keep it simple. Relationships ain't hard. All you got to do is the things I like, and then everything will be cool. 1-800-920-1580. Cultural conditioning versus authentic desire. It be your type. It be your type. That's tonight's topic. Thank you, Attila Phillips from Houston, Texas, with yet another slapper. 1-800-920-1580. If you want to send me one of your topics, all you got to do is email me at vor106@gmail.com. But back to it. Cultural conditioning versus authentic desire. Are our romantic preferences a genuine expression of inner desire, or are they the byproduct of pervasive cultural narratives and historical biases? Very interesting stuff. Cross-cultural studies confirm that factors such as colorism, fat phobia, and Eurocentric beauty standards heavily influence what traits are deemed attractive, suggesting that authentic desire often competes with culturally imposed ideas. What's your type? If you like them dark, why? If you like them light, why? 1-800-920-1580. I want to know. I want to know what you think. Trauma, healing, and the evolution of attraction. Who's your type and why? Does unresolved trauma lock us into an unchanging type? And can intentional healing redefine our romantic blueprint? 1-800-920-1580. Longitudinal research in trauma recovery and attachment demonstrates that therapeutic interventions can alter relationship patterns, indicating that healing is integral to evolving beyond destructive inherited preferences. Now, this is the psycho talk of what I simply call the pen of self-authorship. Yes, a pattern creates a rhythm. It creates almost like a fence, right? It creates this boundary, this inner boundary. But guess what? You could tear that down through self-knowledge, right? You can tear that down by writing your own narrative. This is why I call it the pen of self-authorship. That's what self-knowledge is, and it must be cultivated in order for you to be considered an adult, regardless of your chronological age. The paradox of choice in modern relationships. In a world of endless options, does the abundance of choice paradoxically constrain our ability to form meaningful, long-lasting bonds? So many people out there, right? Social and behavioral studies suggest an overload of options can lead to decision paralysis, right? And decreased satisfaction, reinforcing that meaningful love may emerge only when we narrow our focus beyond superficial criteria. Are y'all listening? Why do you have a type? Is there a type you've never dated? And how does that factor into attachment theory? Right? It seems that attachment styles are going to find each other regardless of the superficial, checklist one may have. Seems like an avoidant is going to find somebody anxious. They just going to tap in, right? Because ultimately, these wounds need their supply. And there are levels that people are willing to go to in order to survive. Am I right or wrong? Very interesting. From superficiality to spiritual resonance, can shifting our focus from aesthetic appeal to vibrational resonance unlock a higher paradigm of love that defies traditional types? Emerging studies in transpersonal psychology reveal that when individuals prioritize emotional and spiritual alignment over superficial traits, relationship satisfaction and transformative growth tend to increase significantly. When I come forward, you already know what time it is. I start these conversations. It's up for you to participate and finish them. The voice of reason is on fire. Let's get it. What up, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. The phone line is cracking. I want to talk to y'all. The phone line is cracking. I want to talk to y'all. Y'all want to talk to me? Please call in. What y'all talking about? Because now and Zinga said, y'all please stop. What's happening? Social desire versus biological attraction. Biological, we should want someone that is compatible, but genetically very different so that we have a biological better chance of survival. Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Get in here. Call. We got JW on the line. Everybody else, where are you guys? 1-800-920-1580. Get on the line. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Hit the like button. Hey, John Gilbreth. Johnny John. John Gilbreth, are you in here? Pastor John, are you in here? Is Pastor John in here? I thought I saw him. He was. All right. Nah, man, some troll created a fucking account and used an abbreviation of his name and was actually arguing with one of my kids today. And I sent John the screenshots of it. But I told my son to stop arguing. Like, but he hit Sarah. He hit my daughter. My daughter is different though. She was just like, delete, block. But my youngest was like, hey, what you on? You know, like weird shit. Talk to, oh, your dad is gay. And my kids know me like, this is definitely a nigga who don't know you. Like, they like, you, my daughter and my sons is like, this is clearly somebody at a distance from you. Because they don't understand, like, whoever this is. But it's weird. And he used JG breath. I was...
Terrible irony of complex PTSD is that while one of the things that can help heal trauma wounds is a loving relationship, someone who gets you and loves you and who steadies your life and helps you feel loved, it can go a long way toward overcoming what happened to you when you were a kid. But loving relationships, even potentially good ones, can activate those very trauma wounds that show up as panic and desperation and clinginess and seemingly irrational behavior that can absolutely ruin a new relationship before it really gets started. So when that happens, what can you do? My letter today is from a woman I'll call Rachel, and she writes, "Hi, Anna. So I have a challenge, and I've scoured YouTube trying to find someone who talks about this, but no one seems to have put anything out, at least that I can find. Backstory. I met a guy through work. It was phone calls to start and 100% business. But then one day I realized, oh, woo, my heart kind of leapt out of my chest. Not the usual gut feeling I get with past connections that have not worked. I developed a crush based on our conversations that somehow moved from business to chatting personally. And one night we FaceTimed for 2 hours and the conversation continued to be easy. He works out of town. Got the fairy pencil. I'm going to circle things I want to come back to, but let's just do a first reading through Rachel's letter and see what's going on. He works out of town, but actually happens to live in the same city as me. Well, just on the outskirts. I had planned a getaway this past weekend, which was 4 hours from where he's currently working. And on his weekend off, he came to meet me in person for our first in-person meeting. It went amazing, better than I had hoped it would go. I felt at peace with him. It was easy. Even in the moments of silence, I didn't feel any awkward overwhelm or need to fill space. I felt so much peace and calm. We spent the whole evening chatting, building a campfire, playing Jenga, and enjoying some wine. No sex, because I'm adhering to my boundaries around that, but there was some fooling around. He stayed the night and left the next morning, and that is when the anxiety set in. I did some nice things for myself, tried breathing, took an herbal remedy to help, but the anxiety would not quit. I was supposed to stay another night at the beautiful place, but I couldn't. I completely spiraled. It was the worst feeling. I felt a mood of doom and a sense of abandonment. And being in this beautiful but unfamiliar place became too unbearable. And then the thoughts came in. He's never going to want to be with you because you're too much. This reaction is too much. Imagine if he knew this was what happened over spending a little time together. I tried to remind myself I was in 2023 and not some past time. I tried to become aware of my surroundings, but it was all way too much. I decided to leave and come home early because I couldn't stop crying, and I had a panic attack. I didn't think I could mentally or emotionally deal with trying to push past this feeling. On the way home, I felt frustrated because this is a common thing. I have some level of happiness, and it's like a curse that just it comes crashing down to just...
Man, my crappy childhood. Go check her out on YouTube. Man, her stuff is amazing. She deals with CPTSD and relationships and the problems that have emerged from early childhood experiences. She's amazing. Please go check her out. My Crappy Childhood. She's awesome. And this is what I'm trying to explain. So when we say relationship is a mirror, your work is your type. When I say you get what you deserve, you get what you've earned. You get what you've worked on internally. Relationship mirrors your progress or lack thereof, right? So what we do is, in an attempt to escape self-work, which is self-realization, which is picking up the pen of self-authorship, which is rewriting our early childhood experiences, right? Recontextualizing them, reframing them, which is hard work because it requires introspection, right? Non-judgmental introspection. Because that's so difficult to do, the wound starts to create the expectations and the idealization of a preferred partner. So relationships become this escape route to get away from the difficulty that is required to do the work. But here's the problem. You attract where you are. You attract your level of consciousness. You attract your frequency, your vibration. And if you've been skipping self-school, you are attracting the work you've been running from. You are your type. Ooh, when we come forward, the voice of reason is going to keep cooking. Get to your phone line. The number to dial, 1-800-920-1580. We lost JW. What happened to J-Dub? What up? Get on the phone. Where my peoples? Call in, Mimi. We want to know your type. What's your type and where did it come from? I'm not talking about superficially. What's your type and where did it come from? What's your type and where did it come from? Get on the phone. I see you, Attila. What happened? All right, so y'all just not participating today. Okay. Fuck it then. Gonna make this a night to remember. But yeah, should just be piling up. Good evening, Tiffany. What up, Tiffany Coleman? How are you? Welcome into the Voice of Reason. What is Pretty Brown Mimi talking about? My type starts with having some good damn sense. I like that. Hey, no, hey John, it's all love, man. But like I was saying, man, I when I sent that to you, I wasn't implying that it was you. I was just giving you the heads up that I felt like somebody was impersonating you. So that was the reason I sent it to you. Xylon Farrell, hello everyone, Mr. Williams, chat room family. I'm at the Foundry, but I have a question. What is your question? We overfocus on spiritual or on physical when we have no spiritual merit. Everybody hit that like button. There's 10 people in here that have not hit the like button. Can I call those 10 people to hit the like button? This is our longest break. If you want to support the channel, you can. There's a couple of ways to do so. You can go to the super chat, which is the $ at the bottom of the chat. Give you a reason. No, don't delete them. Don't. No, that's no. You can let them. Like, why comment? I'm just saying, why even comment? Why not just wait to hear the reason? Boy, we live in a narcissistic society. Give me a reason. If you just got here, you don't have one. So all you have to do is kind of wait to see it unfold. But just because the presenter is speaking, you don't have to respond. You can kind of just, let me see what's happening. What do they call that? Read the room? Like, let me come in and read the room. No, give me a reason as to why I should like. Well, partly because that is the culture of YouTube. People go live, ask people to support in various ways. Hit the like button is a universal thing. Like, share, subscribe, donate. All of these are universal, right? So when people come to my chat, I do any of this, I'm somehow begging for likes, begging for super chat, when these people who are saying I'm begging are doing the exact same thing on their YouTube channels. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, just come in, read the room, see what the vibe is, and if you like what you hear, then participate. That's wild. Every single YouTuber asks for likes, subscribes, shares, donate to my channel. Everybody says it. Turn cold.
On this video, we talk about recurring relationship patterns and how to work with them. Stay tuned. Welcome to the New Love Addiction. I'm Alan Robarge, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Have you ever looked at your adult relationships and had an aha moment where it just appears that you're recreating the same kind of relationships that you had with your parents or that you had in your family, and that you take on the same role of how you behaved in your family and you show up like that in your adult relationship? Well, if you have noticed this and if you have done this, you are not alone. Many of us do this, and at face value, a simple explanation is that our brain is wired to create the type of relationships that we are familiar with. And the word familiar here means of family. So we're just repeating the same type of family relationships that we had, and we do that because it's comfortable, and that's how.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt him because I get excited when I'm listening to this kind of information. There's the clinical talk, patterns, brain wiring, right? They have a whole branch of it, neuropsychology, right? Brain wiring. Can I tell you, attachment has a spiritual purpose. I'm going to say it again. The spiritual purpose of attachment is to keep you tethered to the lesson. You have to build up the strength to break free of your modeling. Wherever there's a pattern, there's going to be a certain level of safety. Why? Why is it going to be safe? Because that's your known, even if it's unsafe. That's why you'll get a fearful avoidant out of a familial situation where one of the parents or one of the caregivers were terrifying. But that's the source of love. So now I want love. I really want love, but my parent showed up in a way that scared me. But there's trepidation in approaching the parent to get love. I know there's love there, but am I going to get the terrifying parent, or am I going to get the loving parent? Because it oscillates, vacillates, goes back and forth. It's unpredictable. So I grow up in a pattern that says the person who taught me love, who showed me love, who maybe have breadcrumbed me love, who gave me some, but also gave me terror, taught me that love isn't safe. But inside, I have this overwhelming desire to have it. I want closeness, but the model I came from, do you see, made me not trust it. So now, That's a pattern. And you have the power because all of the patterns are malleable. You could say Earth's gravity is malleable to the strength of a particular set of rockets. It's not undefeated. They call it escape velocity. In order to escape the power of Earth's gravity, you have to build a rocket strong enough that can actually break through the gravity. In other words, speaking metaphorically, break through the generational pattern, the template that was set in childhood. Attachment is suffering when you can't break free from it. When you can't break free from something, is that not prison? Are you imprisoned by something you can't break free from? This is what the Buddha meant when he said attachment equals suffering. Because now you're replaying. Oh, take the other Sanskrit word, karma. What is karma? Karma creates more of the pattern. Karma means action. Well, you were born into an environment. You modeled specific actions. You modeled coping mechanisms, more actions. Boom. Your pattern. You're known. Do you see? Very interesting. In a provocative dissection of modern romance, It Be Your Own Type shatters the comforting illusion of a predetermined type. Drawing from empirical research, attachment theory, and metaphysical wisdom, this incendiary exploration challenges the notion that physical attraction or a fixed archetype guarantees lasting love. Do you see? Instead, it exposes how unresolved trauma, cultural conditioning, and digital algorithms conspire to manufacture our romantic preferences. Far from being mere matters of taste, our so-called types are revealed as self-imposed limitations, mirroring past wounds and societal expectations that hinder personal evolution and authentic connection. That's what your type is. Huh? Tonight's topic, we dare the listeners to question whether they truly chose love or merely cling to familiarity, and whether rejecting unconventional patterns amounts to spiritual ignorance. Ultimately, it argues that transcending these rigid molds unlocks a higher, more transformative paradigm of love, one that is fluid, self-aware, and capable of fostering genuine intimacy beyond the confines of a superficial conditional idea. Many of you women out there dating your daddy because something wasn't resolved with him. Something needs to be resolved, hasn't been resolved. So many of you find your daddy to continue when you can't have the conversation or when you refuse to have the conversation. Many of you men out there are dating your mama, toxic and all, reliving these patterns. You have to find escape velocity to break free. When I come forward, I'm going to go to the author of this topic. We're going to get into it deep. Are y'all listening? What are your thoughts on tonight's topic? Is it resonating? Your type. Is it resonating? L.S. Jefferson, hey. Victory is non-negotiable. Jody and Judy, what up? You think what, Attila? We about to cut up? What's happening? Tap in. What am I on? Hey, King Zoe, what's good? I hope everybody is good. I hope everybody is love. I hope everybody is peace. I love the topic so far. 8.9. We got to get you to love topics that are uncomfortable to you, though. Right? Right? Me and you on this recorded line. No, I love I love Pretty Brown Mimi. It's just that Mimi, she gonna fight for the sisters, and that is beautiful. No matter how balanced I try to keep it, no matter how fair and balanced and equal I try to keep the conversation, Mimi be like, hell nah. Hell to the nah. What about the menses? You ain't finna come up in here and speak on none of these sisters, boy. Do you know I will slap fire out your mouth, Zo? That's how Mimi be talking to me. I'm just playing, Mimi. You're reminding us that we're in the USA, Walton? What the fuck? I slip in the no, what? You slip in the no ma'am zone around the edges at times. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Help me to understand.
What does it mean to be aware, to be fully, deeply alive from moment to moment? Most of us have a distinctive awareness of our likes and dislikes. There's a sharp division. But is it possible to just be aware, to leave like and dislike behind, and simply see things as they are? Those times in which awareness is far beyond the mere focus of concentration, Krishnamurti calls choiceless awareness. As he has said, when you're very clear, there's no need for choice. It is a subject he returned to again and again over the years. Krishnamurti on choiceless awareness.
How do you look at this marvelous sight, the beauty of this place? What does it mean to you? Do you observe it, aware of it, without any choice, without any desire just to observe the extraordinary beauty of the land? Or when we are aware, is there always a choice? I prefer this land to another land. I prefer this valley to other valleys. So there's always memory and choice operating. And can one be aware without any choice at all, just to be aware.
Listen, man, that's my brother, man. That's gotta be somebody in my lineage, maybe 3,000 years ago. I don't know. I know him. I know Krishna. I'm gonna say I know Krishnamurti. I'm gonna say he in the family somewhere because it resonates. Choiceless awareness. Do you know what he's saying? First off, you can't have choiceless awareness when you're wounded because your wound serves as a type of lens that you look at the world and define the world through. Somebody could be lifting their hand to scratch their eyebrow, and if you've been traumatized, you might jump as if they were lifting their hand to hit you. You're seeing the world through what you've been through. This is how you get who you are in relationship. He's saying when you get past psychological memory, the wounding of psychological memory, because that's really the purpose, right, of psychological memory. It's the repository of every experience you've ever been through. And this is the lens by which you see the world through, right? Oh, I'm from the East Coast. I was raised in a Protestant family. I went to school at St. John. Wait a minute. Hold on. That's a Catholic. Yeah, it was a conflict, right? Now I'm a Republican. These are lenses. Oh, I'm a Sagittarius. Oh, you get what I'm saying? These are lenses by which we look at the world through. And then that's just the superficial piece. The underlining piece is the shadow, the repository of everything that we've been through. So when he's speaking of choiceless awareness, it reminds me of the Chinese term, the Taoist term, known as Wu Wei. Wu Wei, W-U space W-E-I, Wu Wei. Wu Wei is a polymorphic ancient Chinese concept expressing an idea, listen, an ideal of practice of inaction in exertation. Now, for many people in today's modern life, they're not talking about the soft life when they say inaction and inexertation. Another translation of the term Wu Wei means effortless action. Effortless. Action that comes from who you are, not from what you've been through. See, if you can apply Wu Wei to your type, would you have one? Your type tends to come from what you've been through. Listen very deeply here. Is having a type a form of self-imposed romantic determinism? A cognitive bias that may narrow possibility in love. If your type repeatedly leads you to heartbreak, does that mean your attraction template is maladaptive, or is it a necessary karmic lesson in disguise? Remember, escape velocity? In order to escape the gravity of your early childhood experiences, you must first face it with non-judgmental, objective, empathetic eyes. You have to see it and embrace it for what it is without judgment. That's how you lessen the gravity of attachment. Can the law of attraction be a form of self-sabotage when one's type is unconsciously chosen based on unresolved wounds? Where did your type come from? How did you develop the template for your type? How much of our type is authentically our own preference versus a socio-cultural conditioning imposed by media, family, and systematic norms? Can we get even deeper? Ladies, for the most part, is your type just money, irrespective of aesthetic? Men, is your type the perfect body, irrespective of spiritual evolution, irrespective of self-awareness? She just got to be a baddie? And if she's that way, is your type that because you feel like you can exert more control over her? Why do you have a type, and where is it from? Is attraction merely a neurological addiction to familiarity? If so, does this explain why people repeatedly fall for partners that reflect childhood dynamics? What does it reveal about our own self-concept when we only desire partners that meet a particular aesthetic or personality type? Choiceless awareness is what Krishnamurti said we should aspire to. Choiceless awareness. In other words, my wounds do not do the choosing. My experience, what I've been through, does not do the choosing. You need experience to build a computer. Technological knowledge is excellent, right? Yes, we must keep learning and growing and applying new technical approaches to making life more convenient. Psychological knowledge does not work in the same way as technological knowledge. When you get traumatized, it is in your central nervous system, it is in your brain, it rewires your brain, it is in your body. It's a part of who you are. Do you see? Psychological knowledge must be healed through what psychologists and the clinicians are now saying, mindfulness and self-awareness and cultivating, tapping into the frontal lobe and being able to express your emotions and developing a safe space so you can talk and share. All of this is spiritual practice. That's how you overcome it. That's how you get out. That's how you gain escape velocity from these negative patterns. Everything has a purpose in the universe. And attachment definitely has a purpose. You have to be tethered to the pain in order to transcend it. Because if you could just fly away from the pain, soon as you felt it, you would leave. You would not get the lesson. Whoo, this deep. Listen, I'm sorry. When I come forward, I'm going to bring in Tolle from Houston, Texas. Listen, if you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. Let's get this discussion popping. Let's go. I already read The Untethered Soul. It's a great book. That's what you hear me talking, untethered. Hey, it's a lot of people in here, but it's not a lot of participation. I just want to know, like, what are you guys thinking? What's on your mind? Is the topic resonating? Talk to me. Like, what's happening? I'm going to get Tolle on the line. But yes, I should start a library for sure. Or a coffee shop is comedy. Hell yeah. My homeboy Chase already got a coffee shop. We be over there sipping on coffee, smoking cigars. No dispensary. What's the topic? I just got in. Sinju Flash. It's a very powerful topic. Hopefully the moderators can keep you tapped in. There's a lot of people in here. I need to hear from you guys. What are you guys thinking? For people who have been in here, exactly, Bro Neves. What, Attila? What did I do? Attila said, come on, Tio. Tio, come on. Hey, I want to know though, what do you guys think about tonight's topic? My grandmama was with the shits.
Your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff? The child wasn't here, and you still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How is that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I don't like the kisses. There's something wrong with that.
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed. Hit you with a bad touch routine. How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my nip.
Why can't you open up?
Man, you should call in, Brother H. That's a great question. That is a great question. Lyndon Johnson, what up?
So well.
So William, reason and accountability. The voice of reason.
I worked with this lovely woman who she had a very difficult childhood where she was neglected and witnessed a lot of physical abuse between her parents and her other brothers and sisters. She was never physically abused, but she was totally neglected. So her brain was developed in a void. Nothing. No one comes, no one rescues, no one makes it better. So that's her attachment learning. And she had lots of trauma symptoms, and she had PTSD, and she had lots of flashbacks to memories of being neglected and abandoned and frightened. And we helped her she went to our Compassionate Resilience group, which is a 12-session group with other women, to develop her self-compassion. And we use the group format mostly for developing self-compassion because it just lends itself very, very nicely to affiliation and connectedness. So having been through the Compassionate Resilience group, she then came in to my one-to-one therapy and had 16 sessions of trauma memory work. And first off, we kind of narrated the whole story, so we got the framework of the whole story, the roadmap. And then we focused in on the particular flashbacks and nightmares that she was suffering from. And with each flashback and nightmare, we systematically recalibrated the meaning by bringing in a compassionate perspective and a compassionate emotional felt sense using imagery. So an example of that was she had a memory of being left alone when she was about 5 or 6 and feeling very ashamed because she'd gone to school, and at the end of the day the little children would sort of sit on the bench with their little rucksacks waiting for their parents to pick them up, but no one came for her, and no one could get hold of her parents, and she was eventually she was actually taken into social care for the night because no one came, and she finds that a really shaming memory, really.
Man, we on fire tonight. That first hour flew. The Voice of Reason Live, KBLA Talk 1580. You know what it is. It's After Dark with Zoe Williams, 7 to 9 p.m. Always on fire, always with the cold-blooded topics, man. Tonight is no different. It be your own type. a deeper look at the Achilles heel of typism. And I don't give a damn what y'all think out there. I don't. A lot of people out there be like, it ain't that deep. Relationships ain't that deep. Why, I got something to talk about every night that's on fire. If it ain't that deep, why we got fire every night? Why do we have hot lava up in here every night? Because it's that deep. We've taken relationships for granted. Don't you know relationships can either be heaven or a hellish hospital for the soul? Did you hear what I said? It can either be heaven or a hellish hospital for your soul. JW from South Central Los Angeles. Get back on the line, 1-800-920-1580. We got somebody in here right now. I want to bring him in right now. The author of said topic tonight. She has so many great ideas and angles and perspectives. She has become my full-blown, full-blooded niece. Get up in here. Attila from Houston, Texas. What are your thoughts? What made you write this? What made you put this together? My goodness, what's going on?
I honestly don't know. It was like 3 a.m. and it was random firing of a bunch of downloads. And this, for whatever reason, just came up. But I think what I was kind of thinking along the lines was really that Achilles heel aspect, right? Because that's the weak point in your life that you know you have that you hide.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because people think that they may be able to hide what their Achilles heel is, but your relationship is always going to be the outpouring of what it is you try to disguise, right? So True made a comment in the live. He said something about like grandpas, like women dating grandpas, and I'm like, right, but what is up with grandpa? So I see how that's a thing. Like when you're talking about type, right? You can't really talk about types without addressing trauma. All of that is out there on the stage to see. And I think I even made a comment. I was saying that if you're thinking about the physical, if you're always going to physical, if your first thought when we said type was anything physical, I think that actually is a sign that there's some growth there, right? If someone asked you, well, what's your type? How would you describe them? What would you say?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, my type has always started with awareness, me personally. And I think it really started, I would say, I started to look for awareness. Now, and I'm going to break it into two sections. From my teens to my late 20s, it was aesthetics. It was, she got to be tall, mocha, chocolate, athletic. She got to be a chocolate sweaty candy bar. Oh Lord, she got to be Hershey's delicious. And here's the thing, I'm not, I have friends that, hey, I like the girl with the plump rump, or I like the girl with the beautiful top heavy. No, for me, proportion, athletic, track. Ooh, come here, track girl. Flojo, wait. I'm just saying. Yeah, see, so, teens up into the 20s and the late 20s. But when I get into my 30s, because, that was my preference, like beauty, like stunning, gorgeous beauty. That was my preference. But when I got into my 30s, I started to realize, like, I didn't understand myself. And, some of those relationships were confusing. They were baffling. Like, wait, what? I didn't have any answers for myself or this person. So, or these people, I should say. And I started to understand, like, okay, I need to discover why I like this particular type of person. Then I went to my mother, who was still alive at the time, and I was having conversations with her. And boy, listen, if we were on a different radio station that allowed for profanity, I could really tell you how she felt about it all. But I started to, ask about my history. I started asking about my dad and what he was on and what he was like. And she was explaining a lot of things. By the time I am 34, that's when it turns mental and psychological for me. I started asking questions like, what's the infrastructure of the family? And a lot of that happened because I was dating a young woman. She was actually older than me at the time. I was 24, she was 27, and she was a Laker girl. Whew. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. She was a little mocha chocolate, beautiful woman. My goodness. Mocha, just a little, ooh, Lord. Anyway, I'm sorry, I just went back. But I met her, and my ego was engaged. She was like, she asked what I do, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm executive, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, well, I'm a Laker girl. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I said, is that all you do? She was like, no, I work in the legal, side. And what she ultimately does is she says, how old are you? I said, I'm 24. She was like, oh, you're a baby. This is where my ego came in. Like, oh, really? How old are you? She was like, I'm 27. I said, oh, well, this is a challenge now. I've got to take it down. I've got to do what I need to do, So I just stayed hella cool. And then we started hanging out, and it started getting real cool between her and I. But it was very superficial. And this is when I start getting into some deep, deep stuff. I went to a family party with these people. Pardon the long story, but I'm sorry. I just got to share. I went to a holiday season party with these people. She took me to meet her family, and her dad was there. I'm in the damn family library looking through the books, and her dad peeped me by myself in the library. And then he came in, he said, hey, man, what you reading? I was like, oh, man, I just noticed this book right here, blah, blah. He was like, oh, okay. So the very next time I go to visit her, Dad walks up to me before I could get to her little back house, because she had a little back house. Dad said, hey, man, let me holler at you for a second. I said, oh, Lord, I knew this was coming. We go in the house. He said, man, what you see in her? He said, I know she older than you. He was like, I know she older than you, man. He was like, she told me about you. He said, what you see in her? Do you see this girl? She be watching cartoons, Disney. You not on that. You different. He was like, listen, man, I know what it is. She is a little sexy girl. That's my daughter. I know what y'all about. It ain't nothing real. He said, she not on your level. This is what he told me. And the next thing you know, at the time I had a bookstore in Altadena. Fortunately, that bookstore is still standing. But, he started coming to my bookstore. And long after my relationship with the girl ended, me and the pops, we was friends until he died. He told me straight up. He said, man, she not on your level, sir. He said, man, he said, you're going to get tired of this in a minute. And he was right. So that's when I started to understand my type. Yes, please.
It's interesting. Very interesting that you say this. Because in knowing you, right, and us having, developed this lovely mentorship, because honestly, that's really what this feels like. I feel like I'm being mentored by you, and I'm eternally grateful, seriously. But on the other side of this, I find that to be a commonality in the stories that you tell me with your relationships. And I find that interesting because when we don't have a true, understanding of, our full capabilities, you haven't, fully actualized to the point where you're just I don't care, it is what it is, right? You will get comments like that. So it's interesting hearing you kind of chronicle your story, because it kind of shows your evolution. And this is why I say in our dating, we can't hide it. The person that you dated at 13 should not look like the person that you dated at 30.
Right. Right.
But guess what we have going on? We got people that are continuing those same types into adulthood. So from middle school to high school, there is no change.
Wow.
College, no change. Adult, you still walking around talking about what somebody owe you with your hand out.
Wow.
Or you're seeking to manipulate,
Ooh.
right,
Mm-hmm.
and actualize on what it is that people's desperation, right? So I say all that to say, when it comes to pain, right, pain is a beautiful tool because that's the appreciation for the pleasure and the good things that are to come if we do it right.
Right.
If we do what we're supposed to do.
Right.
However, doing it right is not always convenient. Not only is it not convenient, but also you have to be able to stand to that ego and pride and fear or whatever it is that you may have that's causing you to choose your type. I wonder how many people have types based off of, like, abuse. Meaning, and I say that because I am one of those people. Like, for a long time growing up, my type was actually based on what I didn't want. So it's interesting to hear different perspectives of people speak about what it was that they did want and what they went after. Because for me, it was actually totally the opposite. And so I say that to say that getting to know yourself is probably the best thing that you can do before even addressing any of this.
That's 100% true.
Yes, and like I said, all of this physicality stuff, man. Like, listen, we are physical beings. I think there's nothing wrong with honestly having a physical preference, and I wanted to go ahead and outline that. I'm not saying that we should totally do away with, because it's natural to have certain types. For me, I feel like my type is more so aligned with my family, right, and what I've grown up around, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it's anything wrong with, as a woman, seeking men who are more like your father, because for me, that is one of my closest relationships in terms of a man who has shown that he can love me in an authentic way with no sexual component, no physical component. They are there simply to see you succeed.
Right.
And I can even say the same thing about you, right? So until you're able to really, like, form those types of relationships in a healthy way, I feel like this is going to be a little bit more difficult to navigate. So that's all I want to say. I don't want to take up too much time.
Come on, Attila, guess what you just did?
How about Houston in the building?
Come on, this real radio, real conversation. If you want to join the discussion, all you got to do is call us at 1-800-920-1580. When we come forward, I'm going to South Central Los Angeles. Great call. Great call. Great call. I be wanting people to call in. Only JW is on the line. I got room for 3 callers. Y'all want to call in? And I haven't been asking you guys to support, but somebody just supported on the super chat. I want to say, Glendon Johnson, thank you. Let me just hit the like button there. Hit the heart button. Glendon, that is your 3rd contribution to this channel lifetime. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Boy, when I was dating that Laker girl, it was such a wonderful time. This is when magic came back. It's 96. Magic is back. 95. Magic is back with the Lakers. He playing, this is Buff Magic. He playing with Eldon Campbell, Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel. It was just such a beautiful thing, man. Like, the game is over. And then I'm in my car. I'm waiting for her to come out. Follow her back to Dina. I lived in Dina at the time myself. It was wonderful. She go get showered up. It was wonderful. Did you see me do that flip? Yes, I did see the flip. It's not the way I planned. You don't let know my feeling. That's what I do believe. If you were here tonight.
You can actually enjoy all manifestations of life, from the tree to the store display at Tiffany's, if you want. It's just life. You don't necessarily need to, at that stage, you don't need to have anything because you're already enjoying all that, and that is a wonderful feeling of abundance already. But you have to be in the background, there needs to be the connectedness. So there is a certain powerful field of stillness as you walk around Fifth Avenue looking at everything. You need to have a stronger connection on Fifth Avenue than you need in the middle of the forest. But it's not that you can't be then that place on Fifth Avenue, you can. So if you're walking out in the middle of a big city, of course you get all kinds of, your attention is pulled this way and that. And the staying rooted in that field so that you're not dependent on your environment to feel peaceful. If you're dependent on your environment to feel peaceful, then, I can't be peaceful here. I need to go out somewhere else. Yes, I'm often mentioned, of course, that nature is helpful. It is wonderful to go out to nature. But if you are dependent on nature to become still and peaceful, then your life becomes restricted. And there is a lack of depth still. You're dependent on a certain environment. Fine, you can, you love nature, that's beautiful. You love being in nature, it's wonderful, but you are then dependent on that, and you cannot take that state of aliveness into the city. So it requires greater depth and intensity, alertness, so that you can enjoy the aliveness.
No disrespect to Eckhart Tolle. He's done some amazing work. I'd love to have him on the radio show. I'd love to have him on, but I just got to keep it a buck. He's Krishnamurti light. He's like diet Krishnamurti. Still dope, still fly. You know, got jewels. And I understood exactly what he was saying. And he was talking about the gravity of attachment again. If you're doing things that regulate your nervous system, that brings you peace, that brings you calm. And he's giving the example of, say, nature. You go out into nature, or you're by the ocean and it makes you feel good. Great. But the attachment to want to take that back to the city with you, right? It creates a dependency. And then where there's a dependency, there will be anxiety, right? When you are separate from the thing you rely on to bring you down. So he's saying you're misusing even nature because of whatever is unhealed or unreconciled within self. Do you see? That's what he's saying in that piece. And this is where, and this is the question that I'm actually bringing to the forefront here by simply saying, if you have a type, was it born organically out of your understanding of who you are through your own self-authorship? Or is it born out of what has yet to be reconciled within you? If it's born out of what has yet to be reconciled within you, what's going to happen eventually, right? You're going to attract the work in the form of a relationship. This is what the mirror of relationship actually means, right? Right? You get who you are. You get where you are consciously. Even the work of Thomas Bradburn and what's my guy up at UCLA? I forgot his name. I'll tell you his name. I think it's Thomas Bradburn. But even his work, Benjamin Carney is his name. Thomas Bradburn is the guy that works with him in the relationship department at UCLA. But Benjamin Carney's work talks about how we think we're so much better than our partner, or they're so much beneath us. But he says statistically, they're right within the same vibrational field that we're in, right? And I'm using vibrational field. That is not the terminology he used. But he's saying they're a percentage point not as smart as you, or 2 percentage points not as smart as you on the on a standardized IQ test, but they're relatively in the same space you're in. And what you find is, in attachment theory, we're still mirroring each other, especially on the insecure side, whether it's avoidant, anxious, preoccupied, or the combination of the two, fearful, avoidant, or disorganized. So the whole type thing, if it's born out of this unhealed lens, man, you're actually calling in lessons that need to be reconciled from the inside out. You can get a new partner, throw them away, get a new partner, throw them away, get a new partner, throw them away. Getting the partner is not getting the job done. Listen, when I come forward, I'm going to South Central LA to talk to JW, and we're talking to Myron out of NYC, New York City, New York. What's dope? What happened? Attila? Who said what? No, the type is not an answer to your wound. It's a question. You are the answer to your wound. Facts in a sense, Jake Berry, maybe more so the so far. We're talking about Tolle and Murti. Well, here's the thing about Tolle. Like, when you do the research and you start reading his books, he's always mentioning Krishnamurti. Him and what's the other Indian guy? Chopra. And even Chopra kind of alluded to the fact that, Krishnamurti had a great impact on me. And he kind of tried to allude to the fact that he was like a disciple, and Krishnamurti didn't do disciples, but he was like there. And then his people, Murti's people, was like, no, you were not there. And if you were there, you was way back there. It's not, don't make it seem like y'all got a relationship. Because Krishnamurti himself, he was not on like, oh, let's have tea and talk after the talk. You know, he was not like that. If you do the research on Krishnamurti, he was not like that. You know, his thing was, you do the work, right? And the people who knew him would tell you, nah, dude was the embodiment of the work, right? Dude was, they saying Krishnamurti was the work. So even, he shut the Theosophical Society down. Like, I'm out. Holla at y'all. Deuces. You know, they're like, he was the embodiment of the work. And, you know, and this may not. So, you know, Kobe Bryant was turned on to meditation by Michael Jackson. Right? Phil Jackson tried to put Kobe onto meditation first, but he didn't listen to Phil. He later goes to kick it with Mike because Mike is Virgo. Virgo understand Virgo language. The work ethic of Virgo is nuts. So he could understand Mike. And it was Mike that was like, yeah, Phil is right. Meditation is going to take you to another level. Stop it. Oh, God. I was going to say, Kobe is a lot like Krishnamurti in the sense that Kobe embodied the work like Krishnamurti. Krishnamurti is telling folks at his talks, Murti is like, hey, either we're doing this together or we're not doing it at all. So he didn't like motherfuckers playing, having side conversations. He was like, are you attentive? Somebody's trying to call me, apparently. Can you hear? Can you guys hear? Can you hear? Testing, testing, testing. Can you hear? Testing, testing, testing. Can you hear? Can you guys hear? Okay. So yeah, he was like, no playing. No, he was like, either we're doing this together, or we're not doing it at all. And he would go even further. He would be like, the speaker is not important, because he didn't want followers. He didn't want to be seen as a guru. He was like, that's the fucking problem. No one can lead you, only you. You are the experience of you. Nobody can lead you. So he was very strict in the way that he presented his information. Like toward the end of his life, he's literally telling them, do not change one word in the transcript. If I misspoke, write the misspeaking. Don't edit. He was dead ass. Like, don't edit nothing. Just transcribe what I said. And they, back in those times, they were calling it the teachings. He was like, do not change the teachings. Preserve the teachings. And from Krishnamurti, what you now get, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Lisa Nichols, Jan Van Zandt, all of these people are influenced by Krishnamurti. 1895 to 1986, 65 years of touring the world teaching. So he was not for the bullshit. And I see similarities between Murti and Kobe. Because Kobe was like, either we're doing this shit together or we're not doing it at all. So when you see that clip, no, Osho was a hater of Krishnamurti. Osho started his whole shit because he thought, I could do what he's doing. Osho was in it to have a following. And at the same time, he would praise Krishnamurti and then try to talk shit about Krishnamurti because he was in competition. He was in it for the guru status of it. You know, it's another Krishnamurti, some dude, J.G. Krishnamurti. And he was like saying the same shit as Krishnamurti, and everybody know, like, nigga, you gonna say relationship is a mirror too? It was. So this is for the lover. This means will always be true. This I will start this time. So yes I do. And girl, you're not the kind of that could easily
What would be an example or a difference between an intuitive extrovert and an intuitive introvert? Really, you know, we are chosen. It's a more difficult case, you know, because one of the most difficult types is the intuitive introvert. Yeah. The intuitive extrovert, you find them all understandable. Yeah. That is quite understandable. Yeah, the introvert side is more difficult because he has intuitions as to the subjective factor, namely the inner world. And of course that is now very difficult to understand. Because what he sees are most uncommon things. And he doesn't like to talk of them. If he's not a fool. Because he would spoil his own game by telling what he sees. Because people won't understand it.
Man, that's Carl Jung, man. Just listening to that. Do you know how many people really think I'm their type? I'm not your type. I'm not your type. I've been dealing with my whole adult life. I'm not your type. People will look at me and aggrandize certain things. They'll be like, oh, he's attractive. Oh, he's tall. Oh, he's intelligent. Oh, he has contextual understanding about relationships. Oh, he'll make a great... No, I won't. Because with all of this understanding, I still struggle. And the one thing I learned is we are not designed to be with struggle human beings. Even though we're all inherently struggle-based beings. But we're, do you understand? Disney didn't teach you how to be with a work in progress. Disney taught you a one-sided, lopsided, unrealistic breakdown. Happily ever after. That's what Disney taught you. He didn't teach you that relationships are the mirror of you. This is either, if you've done the work, relationships are heaven. Love is possible. Unconditional love. If you haven't done the work, relationship is a hospital, a hellish hospital for the soul. That's what it is. Now, if your type is coming out of your hellish relational hospital IV, your IV drip, your morphine, you're not seeing clearly. It's really that simple. Let's get our brother JW, South Central Los Angeles, is in the building. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic, my friend?
Hey, so yeah, like I mentioned once for maybe while listening to the show, and so I can get some service and help to my family. In terms of my relatives as narcissistic. But anyway, let me change the subject. Sometimes I can listen to you and identify with myself, and it's like a confirmation that I have really arrived, or I am a genuine person. And what I mean by that, at the beginning of your topic, when you first came on, you made a reference to light-skinned women and what's your type, and you made a comment about are you your type of someone like your mom or whatever? And it made me go back in time when I was a kid. I wanted to, I actually did get out of my mom's lap, went to this light-skinned woman's lap, and laid in her lap at church. Now, the reason why I said that is because I had, at that point as a child, what was appealing to me was a high yellow person. But, pay attention, as I progressed as a young child, my preference was someone that's more closer to my complexion. But, as I kept on progressing and getting older and learning and maturing, my preference, I had a flexibility, or I had a wide range, but still yet, I never wanted nobody that was too high yellow, like that woman when I was a child, or too dark. But, hear me out, my high school sweetheart was darker than me, but she was still appealing because of her characteristics and her qualities and etc. And when it comes to a heavyset woman, she had a complexion that was appealing, but I love her characteristics and all, etc. and all the above. So that made me realize that I had a preference, and I heard psychologists say your preference could be something like you're prejudiced to something contrary to what you prefer. Well, I don't think you're prejudiced, at least I wasn't, because I had a wide range of flexibility. But anyway, moving forward, you know, bro, I'm losing train of thought, and I'm trying to gather my thoughts real quick, because I know I'm on a short time frame.
Right.
But the thing is, your show, I'm going to fast forward to this is speaking of my thought. Your show, I hope it really advances to the point to where you can have some type of program or whatever you might want to call it, where you can match people that has some type of like-mindedness that are going through the same path, and they're under construction, and they admit that they have flaws, and they accept themselves, and they are work in progress, and they can meet like-minded people like them and come together. Because I'm at a point in my life where I would love to have a relationship again, but I'm being real cautious, and I'm learning from you, and I refuse to make the mistakes I made in the past.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this, J Dub. Just go get a little therapy. You know you got Dr. Dr. Sunshine, Shalonda Crawford.
I listen to both of them, and you're right.
You got Dr. Jashana Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, listen, just trust me on this. Trust me. I've had but no, I don't mean, because I don't feel like we can get better by just listening. See, the conversations that I curate here, JW, and I'm not here to, tear down what you're saying. I'm just simply giving you a different perspective. The conversations that I curate.
I think I can do the work and use the tools.
That's right. It's to spark you to go the next step. Do you see? Okay. So do me a favor, J-Dub, because I give a damn about you, man.
I'm listening.
Call one of them sisters. Reach out to one of them sisters and set up a session where you can work through some things. Would you do that for me?
Yes. And would you do this?
No, damn me. Do it for you.
Oh, okay. I agree with what you said.
Okay.
But I just want to put this thought in your mind.
There we go.
It'd be wonderful if we had a platform where you can match people like I just stated, where they're going through something and they're like-minded. And I'm an achiever. I'm an overcomer. I would like to see someone like that too, that still accept their flaws, etc., etc.
I got you, brother. And I'm gonna look into it because I love you too, man. Thank you. He brought South Central in the building. That's legendary J-Dub. Y'all know what it is when I come forward. Man, I'm going to the city so nice they had to name it twice. Let's get it. Hey, man, I love J-Dub. Nah, what's funny is we had some kind of event. I forgot what it was. Anyway, I don't want to give up too much information, but it was an event. And I'm the type of, they already know, like, is Zoe gonna come? Is Zoe coming? Because they know off the air, Zoe I don't want to be involved in a lot of shit. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to show up to nothing. I don't want to do nothing. So they understand that. Like, the sister just reached out to me today. She was like, look, the nonprofit you hooked us up with, we doing a luncheon. We're about to present them with a big stack of cash because you told us these are the people. Can you present them? They're coming here. We need you to show up. I said, I will show up, but I'm not presenting. She was like, but these are your people. And they're going to distribute this cash to all these people in Altadena. I said, I'll be there. She said, okay, never mind, Zoe. Just show up. I said, okay, I'll be there. But these people, they know, like, he don't fuck around. He'll come or whatever. So they had me come to some shit. I got my food. I took a picture. Jumped in the car and took off. The next day, fucking Andy was like, JW was looking for you, dog. JW was at the event. JW was looking for you. Carl was looking for you. I was like, yo, I get the fuck up on out. I'm sorry. I get the fuck on. I'm sorry I'm like that, man. It's so every other house, every other block that burnt. Nah, everything was. You could see 50 houses into a section burnt. And that's down blocks. You can see. Altadena. I don't even want to talk about Altadena, man. I've been there a couple of times. I don't even want to talk about Altadena. The west side is definitely on the west side. It's not as bad on the east side because that's where the fire trucks made their line, on the east side. Lake Street. Come, I gotta hear it. Now, this is legendary. Y'all know my playlist is my co-host. When was the last time y'all got taken down 80s road like this, man? The Jones Girls, man. When I tell you, musical clarified butter. But I just saw Tony with Raphael Sadiq do their rendition of Shalimar's Over and Over. Come on, man. I gotta hear Over and Over before we get out of here. Shalimar, Over and Over. Now, to me, These girls were better than Sister Sledge. But over and over, man. Come on, Jerry Curl. I'm finna go buy a members only. I'm gonna come in here with a members only jacket. Come on, Jeffrey Daniels taught Michael Jackson the moonwalk. You got Jody Watley. Come on. Howard Hewitt was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it by myself. Hey, come on. Solar Records. The Sound of Los Angeles. Solar Records, man. Come on. Hey, and you know who's on this track with him? You got Andre Simone, who comes out of Minneapolis, who's down with Prince. Come on. This that Minneapolis, Los Angeles. Come on. Where my skates at? Hey. The voice of reason on fire tonight. Let me get my final caller in here. Myron from NYC. What up, young man? What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
The topic is you, Zoe Williams. What's up?
What's happening, bro? What's going on?
Man, I just want to tell you it's a pleasure speaking with you from New York City. You know it's cold out here right now.
I already know what it is. There's no cursing in here, though, Myron. We got to watch the profanity. Yes. No cursing. Got you. Go ahead, but finish.
Never won't happen with me.
Got you, good brother.
Raised in Minnesota.
Hey, so you know what I'm talking about. Come on.
And now I'm talking to you.
Come on. I love it.
New York City.
Love it, brother.
And so with that being said, all I have to say is, Zoe, is, man, it's a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for taking this call. Mm-hmm. And all I have to do is tell you, you got the relationship game down tight.
Ah, man, I'm trying, man. I got great mentors. Thank you, brother.
You're doing it.
Thank you.
No, man, everything you've been through, your whole history, the books.
Yeah.
Everything that you created this energy that created this call. And I just want to say thank you, man.
Wow.
Thank you for taking this call.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, Myron. You got a seat at the table. Call in anytime, man. That's an awesome caller, man. I appreciate the love, man. But I'm a student, man. I'm a student. And I got to stay a student for the rest of my life till I die. I got to stay a student. I got to stay a student of self, and I have to stay a student of others. Like I said, we start these conversations for you guys to really tap in, to take the baton and take it further, right? Because no one is an expert of you. You are the expert of you. Now, your classroom are your relationships, and the curriculum will be the work you have done or have yet to do, right? And all of that is mirroring your current state of consciousness. And tonight's topic, it be your own type. A deeper look at the Achilles heel of typism. My type, born out of what? In the realm of intimate relationships, many claim to know their type as if that preference alone could chart a course to lasting love. Oftentimes, it's just not true. Your blueprint is not a lasting, a container for love to live in. It's just not. Because typically our blueprint is broken in some way, dysfunctional in some way. But just because it's broken doesn't mean we have to pathologize brokenness as something awkward or bad or wrong. It's just par for the course, Yet this belief risks transforming what should be a vibrant exploration of connection into a rigid blueprint. We don't want that. It's self-imposed romantic determinism. One must ask, does clinging to a particular type ultimately undermine the capacity for genuine growth, or might it merely echo unresolved wounds that distort the multifaceted nature of attraction? I thought you were a beautiful woman until your dismissive avoidance style came out, right? attachment style, right? Or until your CPTSD came out, or until your lack of emotional regulation came out, right? Or if, whatever else might be the issue, right? That came from early childhood. Do you see? This stuff has to be worked on internally. Your partner is just the question for the answer you carry within yourself. Empirical research in attachment theory teaches that early relational patterns imprint upon our neural circuitry, the brain, causing us or guiding us toward familiar but sometimes maladaptive dynamics. If an individual repeatedly seeks partners who resemble early attachment figures, one might witness the reenactment of trauma through a preference for familiar yet unfulfilling relationship dynamics. In this light, this type we cherish may emerge not from authentic desires, but from unresolved childhood hurts or ingrained social conditioning. Yesterday, we talked about many Black women, especially of a particular generation, being derivative of a negative stereotype that has now been reintroduced and repopularized through social media and hip hop music. And people think that this isn't an important conversation to have. Listen, if society and your wounds got you on autopilot, you're wasting your life. The pursuit of a specific aesthetic or personality archetype can then transform into a neurological addiction to familiarity, wherein the brain craves predictable patterns rather than the vibrant, often unpredictable opportunities for deep, meaningful connection. Attachment scholars like Amir Levine and Annie Chen remind us that attraction does not derive solely from the physical or even the superficial. Instead, attraction weaves together emotional resonance, mental synchronicity, and spiritual alignment, right? In this integrated view, the law of attraction cannot serve as a license for self-sabotage. The rigid adherence to a type might yield repeated heartbreak, for it often reflects an unconscious allegiance to past pain. The truth emerges, becoming bitter, gaining knowledge, cultivating self-awareness, and healing redefines our internal blueprint. True transformation arises when one becomes open to partners who may not match a preconceived mold, yet can catalyze profound personal evolution. I started the conversation. It's really up to you to finish it. It really is. It's up to you to finish it. All right? We're doing this together or we're not doing it at all. I'm the voice of reason. I'll be back tomorrow with another barn burner. Deuces! Was it all right? Was we on one tonight? Was it a good show? I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. I hope y'all enjoyed tonight's topic. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Hey, and Dizzle, come on, man. I'm going to get you to that 9 o'clock. I'm going to get you to 9 o'clock quickly, bruh. You already know what it is. Holla at you tomorrow, famo. All right, y'all. Deuces.